In this video, we bring you an exclusive recap of expert insights on the current trends and challenges in Kazakhstan. From economics to international relations, from fintech to climate change, you'll hear what leaders and thinkers see as the points of growth, not only for Kazakhstan, but for Central Asia as a whole. The question many ask is, how is Kazakhstan performing and how does Central Asia fit into the global economic picture? Our speakers point out both the progress already made and the challenges still ahead.
So far, the region has done quite well. Last year, Central Asia grew as fast as all the EBRD countries on average. This year, we are expecting Central Asia to grow faster than China. So far, the performance has been very good. Of course, we would like to see people of Central Asia enjoying the standards of living comparable to our best performing countries, such as Poland or the Czech Republic. And of course, diversification of the economy remains one of the challenges that yet need to be addressed.
I think Kazakhstan is a great development success story. In 1991, I think the GNP per capita of Kazakhstan was something like $700 per person. It's now something like $15,000 per person. I've been to Astana several times since 2017 or 2016, and every time I come, I'm amazed by the progress that's here. This is a city that grew up basically out of nothing 25 years ago. So Kazakhstan is got a lot of potential and works hard at trying to have relationships with everybody. And for the most part, I think most of Kazakhstan's partners, or all of Kazakhstan partners, largely accept that because you're not a security threat to anybody. And so as a result, it works. There's been an understanding across administrations that Central Asia is important. Now, we have so many other problems and crises in the world as the United States that Central Asia has to compete to get any attention. There's never been a visit by an American president to Central Asia. If you ask me who would be the most likely president to visit in the last 30 years and in the next 30 years, it's going to be Donald Trump's second term. And the reason for that is, I think if Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan were to put together a package, a real economic proposal with a big number attached to it, the way you just saw in the Middle East, he would come here.
Beyond strong macroeconomic performance, Kazakhstan's geography itself is becoming a driver of growth. Sitting at the crossroads between Asia and Europe, the country is turning transport and logistics into powerful tools of economic transformation.
If you think again of the location of Kazakhstan, between China and ultimately to the west to Europe. And you know, that's why also my trip to Aktau really gave me a very good sense. The transport potential that Kazakhstan has is very critical. So really it's important for infrastructure, transportation, logistics, bringing goods ultimately from China to Europe and anywhere in between. So that's a huge potential that we see. Another area, of course, is agriculture.
Right.
I think agriculture is always a vital sector in Kazakhstan because it really provides livelihoods for the population, for rural areas. It creates jobs for rural areas. And I believe that Kazakhstan is still by far the largest grain producer in the region. So that's very significant. If you allow me to bring up one thing, and I just mentioned the importance of agriculture for rural areas and ultimately for jobs. And as the World Bank Group, we have a very big focus on employment opportunities, creating jobs in Kazakhstan and actually globally. And because what we see is over the next years, there'll be hundreds of millions of young people coming to the job market.
Right.
And it's so important that they find good jobs. And it helps for economic welfare, it's key for stability. So that's where we have a very big focus. And there are actually 5 areas, and those apply also to Kazakhstan, 5 broad areas where we see they are big contributors to employment creation. And that's infrastructure and energy, it's agriculture, it's health, manufacturing, and also tourism. So, and I think, you know, if you think of these five, you see that also for Kazakhstan, these are all very important sectors.
The combination of Kazakhstan's physical location, as well as the capability that the Republic has, as well as having significant sources of energy, give it that special position in terms of the middle corridor and the developments that may happen as a result of that, from the classic from China to Europe. So, and also the north-south corridor, which is, we mustn't forget that India sits just beneath. So all of that physical and energy advantage, I think, goes to the ability to build trade advantage, and for there to be, by the name corridor, things passing through, emanating from Kazakhstan, coming into Kazakhstan. And I would say the government is also focused on what is the value added that happens within Kazakhstan, not just being a transshipment location. And with that volume of trade, then on the back of it comes the financial needs of that trade. It needs to be financed, it needs to be then bought and sold, and all those elements then rely on markets and financial markets. And so the regional hub, if you like, in financial services comes on the back of being the regional physical hub. And of course, Kazakhstan has the advantages that I described just a second ago, being able to produce that. Then you bring the sophisticated financial regulation, which the country does have, and continues to develop. Put those two together, and you get the combination which allows the country to have the ambition to be a regional financial hub.
Kazakhstan's financial sector is not only strengthened by sophisticated regulation, but also by one of the most advanced fintech landscapes in the region. Yet even this success story faces its next big disruptor, AI. As experts note, the challenge now is to harness AI early, turning it into a driver of innovation rather than a risk to stability.
Well, I do believe that Kazakhstan is one of the world leaders in terms of fintech implementation. Our banks and other financial market participants offer solutions that are not offered anywhere in the world. You don't have things like digital mortgage, entirely digital mortgage, anywhere in the world. You can apply, you have a lot of government services in our banking application. You can apply for marriage, you can apply for divorce, you can sell your car, you can sell your apartment, all fully online. That is because of the very deep synergy between fintech players and government. Government has this open data strategy where our databases are open to market participants. And this synergy brings like what we call super services. It's not just a separate financial transaction and separate government service. It's super service that combines both, which helps us to truly digitize life situation, not just offer services, but digitize life situation. And I think that what positions Kazakhstan very well in terms of fintech development.
So I think the very nature of digitization is that it's in a way borderless, and therefore the type of innovation that we can bring, whether that's in payments, custody, other particular frameworks or elements of the financial system. If we're doing it in other places, of course we can also do it here in Kazakhstan with the right regulatory and overall policy settings. So in all of those things, how we manage foreign exchange and how we trade, we do many tens of thousands of foreign exchange transactions a year on behalf of our clients. How that is both price discovery is accurate, and the speed of executing that is benefiting from continued digitization and so on of that market, one of the earlier markets to digitize. So wherever we see that opportunity, we will bring it here to Kazakhstan. One area, of course, is central bank digital currency is on the top of everyone's agenda. What does that mean? Kazakhstan actually has been a relative leader in implementing the digital tenge and other elements. But one of the questions we always ask is, what's the problem set that a central bank digital currency is there to solve? And you're holding a smartphone. I'm sure you haven't touched a physical tenge in a long time. Everything you do is already digitized. Everything that you, through the banking system, paying utilities, all those things, completely app-based and phone-based. So highly digital already. And what is the role of a central bank issued digital currency in that? In some places, that's an evident use case. And particularly where there isn't a high level of digitization in the financial system. In others, it can be a little bit more esoteric of what is the need. But then more broadly, reform in the area of digital assets, particularly tokenization, the ability to break down assets into individual components, which makes it easier to trade, to custody, and so on. That's where we see a lot of potential reform in the infrastructure of financial and security markets.
The idea of national digital financial infrastructure is very simple. As you mentioned before in your questions, Kazakhstan is pretty mature fintech market.
Yeah.
We have a very high penetration of cashless payments, around 86%. And they're not just cashless, they're digital. 8 out of 10 transactions are made using mobile banking applications. All of that progress is made because of two major factors. First is progressive regulation, so legislation around this. And second is what we call interbank infrastructure, when there are some bridges between banks so that money can move from one bank to another. These two factors enables competition. When we have competition in the market participants are forced actually to make innovation to make their consumer happy because they fight for their consumers. And the idea of national digital financial infrastructure is to support this competition, because only when you have competition there is innovation. When there is a monopoly, over the time the innovation decreases and everything goes not so well. It's going to be huge. Last year we conducted a survey to analyze what share of market participants already use AI. And last year it was around 33-35% of market participants who actively used AI in their services. I believe this year this number would double, but let's wait for the results of the survey. And I believe that the future of financial services overall, not only related to AI, are going to be personalized, more personalized than now.
Still, no economic model is sustainable without addressing two pressing issues, climate and education. Kazakhstan's path forward depends on both adapting to global climate realities and ensuring that future generations are equipped with the skills to thrive.
First of all, unfortunately, climate, unlike some other environmental issues like pollution, they are not really subject to one territory or to certain boundaries. So therefore, the cooperation would be absolutely critically important, and really being part of the international forums where we discuss very concrete solutions becomes very important. Secondly, climate action is like a marathon, but the marathon can only be completed when everyone has finished. So if someone is lagging behind, unfortunately, we all are lagging behind. And that being said, of course, the Kazakhstan, and I will come back to the policies of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is doing its own fair share, but everyone else, every single country has to do their fair share, because the greenhouse gas emissions, they just concentrate in the atmosphere and they don't really, they create certain effect at the global level. So therefore, of course, really working with other countries becomes very important.
Now, zooming into Kazakhstan in particular, I have to say that the country has reasons to be quite proud, because Kazakhstan was one of the few countries in the region that actually showed a lot of resilience. When we look at PISA, both mathematics and reading, there was almost no impact in average scores. In looking at the scores of science, if anything, there was actually an improvement for 15-year-olds. So that is very positive, and it showed that one way or the other, the system showed quite a significant resilience. So there's reasons to be proud of. However, when we look at younger cohorts, there are other international assessments, TEAMS and PEARLS. Again, we are very lucky that Kazakhstan participated, and we can look at the pre and post data, which is not always the case. But in the case of Kazakhstan, for younger ages, we do see a very significant falls, drops in 4th grade math, in 8th grade math, and also in PEARLS with reading proficiency. So these are trends that we need to stay alert, and that policymakers will need to be watching and deploy deploying strategies to revert them.
What we've heard across all these conversations is clear. Kazakhstan stands at a unique crossroads. With its strong digital foundation, strategic location, and ambitious reforms, the country has the potential to shape not just its own future, but to influence the trajectory of the wider Central Asian region. The real question is not whether Kazakhstan can rise to these challenges, but how quickly it can turn opportunities into lasting impact. Thank you for watching.